guys, okay, problem 2. So we got a cart going down and there's a cable. So again, there's 2 things to keep in mind. One is that the force of the cable always acts in the direction of the cable. Seems obvious. And the other thing is that a roller, so that's another kind of reaction force. So I drew up in the last video that if we had something like this, we could have what we call a pin and a roller. So the pin would be the triangle. It may get represented instead by something like this. I forget how your book does it, but I do triangle. I like triangle. When you have a pin, it has a reaction force in the X and the Y. When you have a roller, it only has a reaction force. In this case, it would only have a reaction force in the Y. So basically, this guy has 2 reaction forces. One in the direction of what it's sitting on, and the other perpendicular to that. A roller only perpendicular to the ground it's on. So as we can see, if this is the ground and we have rollers, then we're going to have R2 in the direction perpendicular to the ground. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So wheel would be a roller. So the forces that we have, so this one's one of those that's easier to do on an incline. I've already decomposed the weight, so the weight was 550 newtons, and this one was a little tricky because it told you the angle with respect to the vertical. Usually we do it with respect to the horizontal, so you guys are used to decomposing Wx by sine of 25 and Wy by cosine of the angle. In this case, because it's with respect to the vertical, you would actually use cosine and sine. But simple enough. So the only caveat here is that we have 2 reaction forces, R1 and R2. We need to know what, basically they're the normal force. I mean, it's not really much different from what you guys have been doing. And then we have a tension. So we have 3 unknowns. So how many equations do we need? 3. And that's what we have. We have sum of moments, sum of forces in the Y, and sum of forces in the X. Sometimes the trick with these guys, with the statics problems, is to know where to take the sum of moments. So for instance, in this case, if we draw a line that is along that tension force, and we draw a line perpendicular to this R1, it's nice if we were to take a moment along where those 2 intersect. Now why is that? Well, the reason is that we can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Meaning that 2 of our unknowns they intersect at that point in which we take the moment. And because the 2 unknowns, 2 forces that we don't know, because they intersect that point in which we take the moment, they don't get included into the equation. So that means only R2 gets included. So that would mean that we can find the R2 just by sum of moments. And this is kind of nice because if we looked at sum of forces in the Y, if we did it right away and we didn't solve for R2, we actually wouldn't be able to solve for anything because we would have the weight, but we wouldn't know R1 or R2. So it's better that we use sum of moments and we do it around one of the points where it knocks out both the tension and the R1. Basically, we need to knock out 2 of our unknowns by placing our moment in the right place. That takes practice. So again, we're going to assume counterclockwise. Why not? I'm going to take it about point A. That wasn't dictated anywhere on the paper, so I'm going to write it, point A. He's that guy. Sum of moments is 0. And now we're going to get a moment from the vertical force of the weight, the X component of the weight, and the reason that is that the tension is barely off of the center of the body. Now I didn't draw this great, but the center of the body, let's see, if I recall right, it was 5 centimeters below the center, so this should be 5 centimeters. Okay, so the center of gravity is right here, center of mass. As long as you have uniform density, your center of mass and your center of gravity is the same thing. Or center of area, sorry. Okay, it's been a long day. Sorry, but your center of gravity is right here. Okay? Sorry, yeah, as long as your uniform density, your center of area, and your center of mass should be the same. Okay, so for this one, for the Y then, we see that if we're going to pivot around this point, it's going to make him want to go in the clockwise direction. So because we've assumed counterclockwise, we give it a negative sign. And I seem to have skipped the gun, but negative 4980 times 5. So again,